You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension, a dimension of sound, a dimension of sight, a dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Mrs. Pratt?
Oh, hello there, Ida. How are you?
Can't complain. And yourself?
I was just making some lemonade. Come on in.
I shouldn't stay. My son's coming to dinner. I have to put a casserole in the oven.
Just for a moment, then. I'll get you a nice tall glass in the kitchen.
Well, if you don't mind.
You can be my taster. You absolutely must tell the truth, though. If it's too sour, I'll add more sugar.
It looks lovely. Where'd you get the lemons?
From Mr. Takamori's backyard. He brought me a whole bag of them.
How thoughtful.
Oh, he's an absolute jewel. I swear, that man can grow anything.
He's certainly done wonders for the trees on this street. It's delicious.
I always say there's nothing like fresh lemonade.
I see Arthur's doing your lawn now.
Yes, he's such a fine young man.
Isn't he?
Always so polite.
Do you think he'll take over his uncle's nursery?
Oh, I seriously doubt it. With college and all, he has his sights set on something higher.
May, I was wondering. Couldn't Arthur do Mr. Fenton's lawn, too?
Mr. Fenton? Well, I believe he'd rather do it himself. You know that man.
Yes, but his place has been a fright lately.
Oh, such a shame. He used to keep that yard so neat. I hear his wife moved out.
The boy doesn't charge much, and Mr. Fenton's lot's going to seed. It lowers property values, you know.
Well, then, why don't you ask him?
Oh, I couldn't. He'd think I was being a busybody.
Arthur, I mean. He can stop by after he finishes here. It wouldn't hurt.
I suppose. If he needs the job.
I expect he does. That family's worked so hard. Can't have been easy after the war.
You don't think...
What?
Mr. Fenton was in the service, wasn't he?
The Marine Corps.
I hope he doesn't have a problem, then, with the Japanese.
Oh, that boy's as American as you and I, born and bred.
I know, but there is a feeling with some people.
Not in this neighborhood. I'm sure Mr. Fenton has put all that behind him.
I should hope so.
I was just about to bring Arthur some lemonade. You can mention it now.
If you think it's all right.
Of course it is. What went on back then was a terrible, terrible thing. But believe me, the war is over. In our town, it ended a long time ago.
A trip back in time to an era that's now ancient history. The period, the early 1960s, 20-odd years since Pearl Harbor. The war ended long ago, but for some, so much bitterness and loss are not easily forgotten. Such is the case with our two antagonists whom you are about to meet. Mr. Walter Fenton, veteran of World War II and an officer in the United States Marine Corps, and young Mr. Arthur Takamori, first-generation son of Japanese immigrants who has no memory at all of those years. Despite their best intentions, this unlikely pair will soon square off for a battle with the ghosts of the past in the darkest, most haunted reaches of the Twilight Zone.
And now, the Twilight Zone and our story, The Encounter, starring Stacy Keach and Byron Mann.
Get a load of this stuff. Where'd it all come from? Psh, what a mess. Not a nuke at all. Shoes, clothes. Hey, There's the old radio. Plug it in, see if it works. Well, well. A whole lot of junk and nothing but. Say, what's in the trunk? Well, will you look at that? The sword. Oh, yeah. I remember this. How could I forget? Wish to heaven I could. Yeah.
Mr. Fenton? Anybody home?
Up here, in the attic.
Sorry to bother you. I can come back later.
That's okay. Front door's open.
All right. Mr. Fenton?
It's me.
Sorry if I disturbed you.
What do you want?
Well, Mrs. Bowles down the street sent me over.
Oh, she did, huh?
Said you wanted somebody to take care of the yard.
My yard? How would she know?
Oh. Well, if it was a mistake, I apologize.
No, hold on. Matter of fact, she's right. Might as well come in.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Well, if you say so.
Lots of cobwebs. Haven't been up here for a while.
Oh, that's okay.
Haven't I seen you around?
Maybe. I cut the grass with some of the people on the block. My uncle runs the nursery at the corner.
Oh, yeah.
So, what do you think?
About what?
The lawn.
Yeah, I could use a hand, I guess.
If it's just the front, I can take care of it twice a month. Charge you the same as Mrs. Bowles and Mrs. Platt.
Sounds fair enough.
Anything more would have to be extra.
Like?
You know, the backyard or the lot. Is that yours too?
Yeah, don't worry about that. At least not right away. I ought to warn you, though.
Yes?
It won't be steady work.
Sir?
Don't get the idea it's a regular job or anything.
Oh, that's all right. I've got plenty of other jobs.
Good, because I'm going to sell this termite dump as soon as I find someone fool enough to buy it.
I understand, Mr. Fenton.
Got it listed already. A little fixer-upper, a handyman's dream with a semi-vacant lot attached. Sounds pretty good, huh?
I can only come on the weekends. I go to school the rest of the time.
Sold.
I'll be back at the end of the day then, if that's all right.
Good enough.
Well, nice meeting you.
Wait a minute.
Yes?
What's your hurry?
I better get back to Mrs. Platt's.
Sit down. We'll have a beer on it.
No thanks, just the same.
I'm serious. Plenty on ice downstairs. Besides, we have something else to talk about.
We do?
Pull up a box and take a load off.
Well, I haven't started Mrs. Bowles' lawn yet, and it's getting pretty late.
Nuts to Mrs. Bowles. Knock off for 10 minutes. You need extra money, right?
Sure. Same as everybody.
I got an idea.
What's that?
There's a way you can make some more cash on the side. Could add up.
How?
All you have to do is give me a hand. Do some sorting, get some cardboard boxes.
I'm pretty busy already.
Hear me out at least.
Well, 10 minutes then.
Let me make room for you.
I can stand.
No trouble. I need some help with this junk up here. Anything you see, you can have. Most of it, anyway. Resell it, whatever you want. I just have to get rid of it before I show the house. What do you say?
I'm not very good at garage sales.
I don't care about that. Never know what you might find. Yeah, I got a lot of clothes, gadgets, old magazines, books my wife like to read.
I don't know.
What's your name, boy?
Arthur.
Arthur?
Arthur Takamori. Anything wrong with that?
No, it just sounds funny.
Why?
Well, you have to admit you don't look like an Arthur.
I'm an American citizen.
Yeah, sure you are.
I was born in this country.
Who said you weren't? Did I say that?
Not in so many words.
Then take that chip off your shoulder.
I gotta go.
What about that beer?
No thanks. I'm not thirsty.
Come on, I didn't mean anything. You're awful sensitive.
Am I? Maybe I am.
There, see?
My given name is Ito. I changed it because nobody ever spells it right.
So, a rose is a rose. You know what I mean?
Not really.
Watch your head there, Arthur. The ceiling's pretty low. What a junk pile, huh?
I've seen worse.
I bet you have. The attic's been this way for 20 years. I don't go up here much. The wife used to yell about it. But I was so stubborn. Now she's gone to stay with her sister. Or so she says. Wouldn't be surprised if she never comes back.
Sorry.
Don't be. We all get what we deserve. Don't you think?
I couldn't say.
Well, I could. You ever know something before you know it?
How do you mean?
In your gut, in your bones, the way a dog knows an earthquake's coming, the way the birds get quiet right before a storm. It doesn't matter what anybody says. It's a fact. It's closing in on you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
We always have a choice.
Doesn't mean a thing. I know it and she knows it. She's got my number, all right. A guy who's never going to amount to a hill of beans, and he's drowning in junk.
I'm sure these things meant a lot to you, or you wouldn't have saved them.
What else could I do? It's all I got. I couldn't just let it go. Even stuff from the war. You see that mannequin in the corner?
Was that your uniform?
Sure was. Get a load of it. Used to be pretty spiffy.
I'll bet.
Don't mind the dust. Yeah, I put this on and people would step out of the way. Even when I got home. My dress cap, brass buttons, like they thought I was a movie star. My girl was proud to go out with me to the movies, to get an ice cream, and just to walk around. I was a war hero. But after a while, that didn't cut it anymore.
You ought to pack it away. Put it in mothballs.
What for? I'll never wear it again. Hard to imagine. This monkey suit used to fit me to a T. With all the buttons and everything.
It probably still would.
Now you're being polite. I turned into a tub of rancid lard, I know that. But I was pretty tough once.
Were you?
I went all through Saipan and Okinawa.
Oh.
Checked the fruit salad.
The what?
That's what they call the ribbons and medals. I got a whole box of them from this and that campaign. All put away. I don't know what for. Never wear them again as long as I live.
I don't know much about the war.
No?
It's before my time.
Yeah. You ever see one of these?
Yeah, in the movies.
Genuine samurai sword. Not a fake like you see nowadays. I took it from a Jap who was trying to cut off my noggin.
A what?
Excuse me, a Japanese officer. You see the blade? Got something engraved on it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you think you could translate it for me?
Could I?
Well, I can't read it. Always wonder what it means.
Sorry to disappoint you.
Why?
I don't know the language.
You don't?
Only English.
Oh, come on, boy.
My mother used to speak Japanese around the house when I was little, but I never learned.
That a fact.
You said you wanted help with this junk?
Oh, yeah. But first, let me get those beers.
None for me.
Well, I need one. My throat's full of dust.
I can't stay.
Be back in a jiffy. Oh, better put that sword away. The blade's still razor sharp.
You!
You!
It can't be. I don't know how or why, but I'm gonna kill this man. I'm gonna kill him. I can feel it. I'm gonna kill him with this sword.
Here you go. A whole six-pack, nice and cold.
Maybe I will have one.
Go ahead, you're entitled. I even brought an opener.
Thank you.
Always tastes better in glass, don't you think?
Yeah, I guess so.
You partial to beer, Ito? American beer, I mean.
The name's Arthur.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. It's just, when I look at you, I don't think Arthur. You understand?
You don't look like much of a soldier either.
You got me there, boy. You sure do.
And while you're at it, Mr. Fenton, I don't like to be called boy. Europeans always call the natives boy and moan about the white man's burden.
Hey, now, simmer down.
The fact is, I'm a full-grown man, I work for a living, and the name I answer to is Arthur, or Artie, to my friends. And once in a while, believe it or not, to Mr. Takamuri.
Man, are you wound up? Do this every time a guy offers you a beer?
Sorry, nothing personal.
No, it sure isn't.
I just wanted to set the record straight, so we understand each other. I get tired of being treated like I'm different.
Let's forget it. The war's over.
Yes, it is.
And in case you don't know it, there isn't a serviceman who saw combat in the Pacific and doesn't respect the Japanese army. They fought like tigers.
Well, that's what soldiers do. Fight when there's a war.
It was a rare thing to take them alive. They just wouldn't give up.
Is that supposed to be a backhanded compliment?
I guess it is. Well, here's to bravery. Banzai.
Okay. I get it.
Say, where did I put that pig sticker?
What?
The sword.
I put it back in the holder, like you said. Then I set it on those National Geographics.
Well, it's not there now.
Well, maybe it slipped down.
Not that I can see. Funny if it got lost. I've been trying to lose it for years. I never could, though.
Why would you want to do that?
Oh, this thing gives me the willies. I should have left it instead of taking it as a souvenir, you know what I mean?
Maybe you should have.
I tried to sell it, hawk it, give it away, even throw it out in the trash. Each time it comes back.
I suppose you're going to tell me it's haunted.
No, I don't believe in that jazz. But when people refuse it, even as a gift, and when the man on the garbage truck leave it, well, you give up after a while. Say, why don't you take it?
I don't think so.
Why not?
What would I do with it?
Well, you could frame it, put it on the wall, sell it, or you could always give it back to me. Point first, if that's what you'd like to do.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I don't blame you for not wanting it. It's a pretty ugly thing.
Not really.
Sure it is, if you think about it, especially with what's engraved on the blade.
I thought you couldn't read it.
I can't, but I like to imagine. I always thought it said something real poetic, like, "This sword will avenge me." What do you think?
I wouldn't know.
Oh, come off it, Arthur.
Look, Mr. Fenton, I'm kind of in a hurry. I work hard and...
So what's so special about working for a living? You said that twice. Don't you think I work for a living?
I didn't say...
I worked since I was a kid, and I had jobs a lot tougher than cutting grass. I used to drive a cat. You know what a cat is, Arthur? It's no sports car, let me tell you. It's a big earth mover. You ever move the earth, Arthur? No, of course not. You manicure it.
I've got to get going.
What's the rush? Drink your beer. Just tell me where you hid the sword.
Where I?
You buried it in here somewhere, didn't you, when I was gone?
You're crazy.
To get it out of the way.
For what reason?
Oh, I don't know. It could be dangerous in the wrong hands.
Whose? Mine or yours?
I left the sword with you next to this stack of magazines. I remember distinctly. Tell me something, Arthur. You don't seem very relaxed. Are you, by any chance, afraid of me?
Why should I be?
Oh, I can think of a few reasons.
Such as?
Well, my background, for one.
What's so special about that?
Because I was a soldier.
So were a lot of people. Really, there's no point talking about it now, is there?
I was in a fighting outfit. You know what that means? It's not like the recruiting posters, let me tell you. Pictures of a nice, clean-cut kid helping little old ladies cross the street, starting fires by rubbing two Boy Scouts together. A soldier like that wouldn't last one night on the beach or in a foxhole. A real soldier's a highly trained machine, made for one purpose, combat. Split-second reactions in place of emotions. He's on a high wire, always on his toes. His nerve ends are dead, and he's as cold and hard as this helmet, like this one right here. It saw me through plenty. Yeah, it still fits. It always will. Like it's a part of me, the part that survived. He doesn't feel anything. Funny thing is, he doesn't even hate anymore. He can kill without hating. He'd better. It takes time to hate, see? They don't talk about that at home. But he's really something to fear. In fact, nothing is more terrible to meet on a dark night than a trained U.S. soldier with an M1, a Thompson, a grenade, a trench knife with brass knucks, or his bare hands.
Yank! Come out and die!
Some dirty little son of heaven was out there in the jungle just asking for it, so I thought I'd oblige. I started circling wide to get behind him.
Yes. Yes, it was night. A very dark night.
It was a simple exercise, basic training. All it took was someone with more luck than brains.
Yank! Yank! Over here! Come out and die, Yank!
I kept moving. Then I saw something. It was the machine gun nest. They had a great position up high behind the trees, so I stayed low and headed around the side. But before I got there... You!
No more, Yank. Now you die.
Go on. Do it. Do it, you dirty little... No, wait. Stop. Stop!
What?
Put the sword down. It was only a story.
Story, yes.
Don't get carried away. I was only telling you how it was.
I'm sorry.
Man, for a minute there. For a minute there.
I don't know what got into me.
Where'd you find it?
What?
The sword.
It must have slipped down behind the trunk. All of a sudden, I saw it and...
You handled it like you were gonna prune a tree. Good thing you hesitated. That officer I was telling you about, he would have gotten me for sure.
Yes. I know.
What do you mean by that?
Something tells me you didn't get that sword the way you said you did.
No?
No. You shot him after he surrendered.
What?
The Japanese officer? He dropped the sword and surrendered. You killed him in cold blood.
All right, so what if I did? So what?
I don't know. That's your problem. I don't feel well. What am I doing here? I've got to get out of here.
Yeah, maybe you should.
The door's stuck.
You must be awful weak. Pull.
It won't move. Did you lock it?
How could I? There's no lock on the inside. Here, let me try.
I'll pull with you.
I guess you're not supposed to leave just yet.
What do you mean?
If I knew, I'd tell you, but I don't. I don't understand any of this, but I'd say we're locked in here together, just the two of us, for better or worse, till death do us part. Still stuck.
I'll try the window.
Just our luck that won't open either.
You're right.
I don't know what's making it do this. It hasn't happened before. Never mind, there must be some tools up here. I can take the hinges off.
Yeah, you do that.
Forget the window. It's too high up to climb out. Of course, we could break the glass and yell for help, but that'll be a last resort. See if you can find a screwdriver.
I wouldn't know where to look.
What are you doing with that sword now?
Don't worry. I'm only looking at it.
Thinking about becoming a samurai?
Couldn't I?
If you ever come at me with that thing again, I'll chop you up like hamburger.
I don't like that kind of talk, Mr. Fenton.
Oh, you don't, huh?
No, I've got a short fuse, so don't strike matches.
A short fuse, huh? From what, kid? Too much sake in your oatmeal?
I was born in Honolulu, near Pearl Harbor.
No kidding. Were you one of the pilots?
I was 4 years old. My parents lived in Hawaii all their lives. My father worked for the Navy as a civilian contractor.
Yeah? Doing what? Sabotaging the planes?
He helped build the docks at Pearl. He was foreman of a construction gang.
Almost a genuine war hero.
He was. a war hero. He was on the docks when they came that Sunday morning. He was there when the first wave of bombers flew over. Standing there, watching men that looked like him, destroying what he built with his own hands. The plane circled overhead. I stood on the hillside where we lived and looked up at the sky and saw them. And my mother held my hand and tried to make me run inside the house, but I stood and watched the airplanes. While down below at the harbor, my father tried to warn the sailors, tried to tell the men on the ships what was happening, but the bombers came anyway, and I could hear the boom, boom, boom as the bombs exploded. And I could see the smoke, and my mother was crying. My father was yelling to warn the sailors, yelling for them to fire back, and the Navy gave him a medal, posthumously. He was a hero, a great hero.
That's some story.
My mother and I were shipped to California 1 year later. We were placed in a relocation center.
Yeah, I heard about those.
Do you know what a relocation center is, Mr. Fenton? It's a fancy name for a concentration camp. That's where I grew up. In a stinking concentration camp, especially reserved for American citizens who happen to have slanted eyes and yellow skin. That's what the son of a hero got, Mr. Fenton. Sometimes I think they should have dropped more bombs.
Easy, kid.
I'm such a liar.
What? We all are sometimes. Don't be so hard on yourself.
It didn't happen that way.
Oh, come on.
He was a traitor. He signaled the planes. He showed them where to drop the bombs. Do you hear what I'm saying? My old man was a traitor.
Here, you need this.
I gotta get out.
Sure you do. The whole thing's stupid, isn't it? You come up here to make a few bucks and I ask you to have a beer because, well, if you want to know, I was kind of lonesome. You see, the wife got a little teed off at me before she left, but she'll be back. Wait and see. I guess maybe she's right. I do drink too much. You married, Arthur? No, I guess not. You know, you guys are way ahead of us as far as women are concerned. You really know how to treat them. It's an ever-loving fact. I saw it with my own eyes over there. And, Sonny, that's one part of Japan culture we could use. We give our women too much freedom, see? I mean, too much status. And what do they do with it? They kick us when we're down. That's what they do with it. Look, Arthur, you're a pretty nice Joe. I could tell that right away. That's why I asked you to stay for a couple of beers so I could admit to you, man to man, that it's been rough lately. The truth is I didn't retire. They canned me from the job. That's right, they put somebody else on the cat. Can you imagine that? Just because of a few lousy drinks? Why, Arthur, I've been driving that thing around since the war, slicing crummy lots for crummy houses out of the crummy hills. It wasn't the booze. That was just an excuse. It's the cheap labor they're getting nowadays. We let them in from everywhere. Mexico, Puerto Rico, foreigners. We make Hawaii a state, and what do we get? A lot of
what? Say it.
Oh, no offense to you, Arthur. You're different, 100% American. Born here and everything, not like your old man. I'm talking about those others who'll be trying to snatch your job, too. One fine morning, you'll show up and find some gook at work in your flowers, clipping your hedges, mowing your lawns, taking the bread right out of your mouth, and it won't matter if you're sober or not. They'll work a lot cheaper, so you've had it, buddy boy. Ooh, but I'm getting off the subject. The wife, like I say, she went to her sister's. Said we were all washed up. Can you beat that? That's gratitude for you. But never mind. She'll be back. She knows which side her bread's buttered on, and if she doesn't come back, who needs her? A man can make it alone. Arthur? Women are a dime a dozen. Anyone who's ever been to the Orient knows that. You're awful quiet, Arthur. Still holding on to that sword, huh? What's the matter, Arthur? Or do you want me to call you Ito now?
I have nothing to say.
Listen, don't take it so hard. I mean, just because your old man was a sneaky little double-dealing traitor doesn't mean you are. I mean, what the hell? You don't have to go and change your name and all and forget you know how to speak Japanese. There are plenty of sneaks and double-crossers on both sides.
Like you.
Hold it right there, buddy.
You were no better. You were a murderer. You killed a defenseless man.
Now take it easy. What happened on Okinawa? Well, you can't blame me. You know we had orders not to take any prisoners. That's right. No prisoners, they said. Seems the little monkeys were coming in with their hands behind their heads and grenades in their loincloths. And they'd pitch them at you without the slightest hesitation the first chance they got. The kamikaze philosophy. So, no prisoners. That was the order. Straight from topside.
You had your philosophy, too.
You can't hold a man responsible for obeying orders, can you? You get shot in wartime for having a mind of your own. Follow orders if you want to stay alive. Oh, yeah, I know. Those Nazi generals in Nuremberg. You're going to bring that up. Well, let's face it. They had a point. They were ordered to do what they did, and they had to obey.
The oldest defense in the world.
So, who's guilty of what? Think about it. Where does it begin and where does it end? In the Pacific, we were told you people were some species of ape, not even human, so we shouldn't worry about burning you out of caves. Today, all of a sudden, you're fine people, highly cultured, and it was all propaganda about your lousy transistor radios.
Is that all we represent to you?
Come on, Arthur, put down the sword and let's have another beer.
Stay where you are.
I don't like to drink alone. And to tell you the truth, I'm a little shaky today. Last night, I put away a fifth of scotch.
Can't hold your liquor, huh?
Arthur, don't you get it? The wife up and left me. I'm all alone now. And yesterday, when I called about getting my job back, the foreman hung up on me. I'm not a bad guy, Arthur. Why is all this happening to me? All right, don't answer. Kill me if that's what you're here for. Go ahead, I dare you.
What's that? Your judo pose?
I told you I'm a trained soldier. Okay, Ito, come on. I'm waiting for you.
You're ridiculous.
Oh, so that's it. You're trying to scare me. So all right, I'm scared, but not of dying, of living. I can't make it anymore, Ito. Or Arthur, or whatever your name is. There's nothing left, nothing. I got a box full of decorations for killing highly cultured people. And I've been pushed and pulled this way and that till I hate everyone in the world who's not the same as me. Look, I'll prove it. Come and get your beer, you dirty little chap.
Why, you?
Just bring it. I'm ready for you.
Ah!
How you like that, huh? Judo, nothing. Stupid old American beating. Stand up and take it. Oh, you can't, huh? Well, here, I'll finish the job for you with a razor-sharp samurai sword.
You don't have the guts.
No? No?
No. Let go of it! Pick up the sword. Pick it up. Where is it? You gonna keep holding on to it? Roll over. Let's see what... Fenton? Fenton? What happened? What have you done? What have I done?
How do you know? It really is you.
Mr. Fenton. I'll call an ambulance.
It's too late. It went clean through me.
What do you want me to do?
Pull it out. Pull it out. That's better. I didn't want to kill anybody. I was just trying to make a point.
my God. Oh, my dear God.
Arthur?
Mrs. Pratt?
Mr. Fenton, is Arthur in there with you? Mr. Fenton?
Two men in an attic, locked in a mortal embrace. Their common bond and their common enemy, guilt. A disease all too common among men, both in and out of the Twilight Zone.
The Encounter, starring Stacy Keach and Byron Mann, was adapted for radio by Dennis Etchison and written for The Twilight Zone by Montgomery Pittman. Heard in the cast were Linda Ryder and Alyssa Fraden. The producers of The Twilight Zone wish to thank CBS Enterprises and the Rod Serling Estate for making this series possible. This copyrighted radio series is produced and directed by Carl Amari for Falcon Picture Group. Sound design and custom Foley effects for The Twilight Zone by Cerny American creatives Bob Benson, Craig Lee, Michael Slaybach, and Matt Sorrow. To learn more about the Twilight Zone radio dramas and to contact us, visit our official website at twilightzoneradio.com. Doug James speaking.